taking a slightly different approach to today's video. In this video series about innovation, I've been trying to talk with you about the different parts of innovation that I feel are important. And today's video is no different, but there's a reason why I'm shooting it here in my smithy, my little blacksmith shop in the yard. And that is because today's video is about this mantra that I've kind of always had, although it's only been recently that I've really realized and embraced it for what it is. And that mantra is, I'm number 2. No, really, bear with me. What it means is that I have found that it is much more preferable for me and much better as a foundation to innovation to be good enough, passably good at, or even good enough to ask semi-intelligent questions in a whole bunch of fields, rather than being the best or very, very, very good in any one field. That's what I'm number 2 refers to. And I've kind of felt like this for a long time. Like I said, it's only recently that I've really codified it and embraced it. The first best example I can give you is from way back when I was in high school. And when I was in high school, yeah, I was a pretty good student. I saw high school as a means to an end to get to college, to have a decent, solid career. But besides being a good student, I was also involved in a whole bunch of other activities. Clubs, the debate team, which I never really fit in with, but for some reason I kept going back. That's a story for another day. Also a whole bunch of sports teams too. I was not in any danger of winning the MVP in any one sport, but I was there and I had fun. And in my high school, they gave out 3 major awards to graduating seniors. There was the best athlete one, like I said, not a contender. Then there was the best academic average student, right? So the student with the highest academic record. And I was in danger of winning that one. And you can tell sort of by how I'm approaching this that I didn't want to win that one because what I wanted was to be at least in the running for the 3rd one, which was for essentially best all-around student. But if you won either of the other 2, you weren't also going to get that 3rd one. And so when I was in my final semester of my senior year, and this other student, this very tall male student with curly hair, I'll never forget what he looked like. He came up to me and he sort of bragged at me how he had just found out he was beating me by 0.2% academically. And my relief was so immediate and so extreme that I started laughing. And he thought actually I was laughing at him, and I immediately had to sort of pull it back a little bit. But I was just so glad that I was at least in the running for the 3rd award. I didn't know if I was good enough as an all-around student to get it, but I wanted to at least be in the running and at least try. And it turns out that that same mantra, that same approach to the world has served me really well at being able to innovate. You know, after high school, I went on to college and eventually to get a PhD. And you might think, whoa, isn't that like the ultimate in specialization? And for some people, it is. And while I may wish them all the luck, those are the people who are kind of boring at parties. And in their one field, if that's all they really, really do, chances are they struggle to make incremental improvements in that one field. The people who are able to innovate do so because they're able to draw from other fields. Like I tried to say before in my video about Stand on the Shoulders of Giants, you have to go find another field. And even though Steve Jobs and other people have pointed out time and again that intelligence is the ability to make connections, I gotta say, well, how do you know what the connection is going to be made to without having experience across a broad range of fields? Now, how do you get that experience? Well, I can kind of tell you that it's usually achievable, even if you are a student working on one thing, or if you're in a career with your one focus and only have a little bit of time for, say, other activities, extracurricular activities, hobbies, that sort of thing. But let me tell you about when I was getting my PhD. As I mentioned, right, a PhD is frequently seen as the ultimate in specialization. And my own advisor had actually told me, a PhD is frequently about being an inch wide and a mile deep in your knowledge base. And he cautioned me against being a mile wide and an inch deep. But I countered that I was hoping that there was a happy medium, maybe half a kilometer wide, a few meters deep. Or if I worked really, really hard, I could be a few feet deep in certain areas, a few meters deep in certain areas, but at least have an understanding that's a few inches deep across a whole bunch of other fields. So my PhD was on soft tissue biomechanics. Essentially, I was writing this giant computer algorithm in order to teach a machine how to feel for lumps in soft tissues, like breast cancer and breast tissue. And my PhD could have just been about that, writing this giant computer algorithm. But to make the device better, to teach the robot, I also built the device and learned electronics on how to do that, and a gantry to hold the device. So there's mechanics there. I also developed people skills necessary to convince my friends, anonymous research subjects, to allow me to measure their breasts, to make ever more realistic breast models, to train the algorithm, and to work with breast cancer survivors, to make them feel at ease, to let, this poor hapless grad student use the device to measure their breasts while they were there getting their follow-up mammograms. And those breast models that I talked about, well, we built those out of silicone and latex that are usually used for special effects makeup. And all of those skills, all of them, with the potential exception of that giant computer algorithm, I have used every single year in my career. They've all been essential to have as that knowledge base in the back of my head to help me find that kernel of information that would help innovate along my main path. So go out there, think about what you're interested in, other fields that might be able to help you with your main career, learn about them. Sure, watch YouTube videos, but actually get out there and do things. You don't have to build a whole smithy, but if this is what you want to do, go for it, or join me in mine and I'll teach you what I know about blacksmithing. I am not the best blacksmith in the world. I do know many people who are better than I am, and I'll happily send you to them too. But get out there, learn things, give yourself the many different fields of knowledge that you can then innovate by making the leaps to.